What if I told you that some of the biggest names in Korea, those who today earn millions per episode, have gone through moments of shame so intense that most of us wouldn't be able to handle it for even a second? Today I've prepared a list of the 5 biggest humiliations ever experienced by Korean stars. Embarrassing moments on national television, cruel attacks disguised as criticism, and family secrets that nearly destroyed promising careers. Prepare your heart, because you are going to see the human side of your idols like never before. Let's get started. Let's start by talking about a case that gives me a knot in my stomach just remembering it. Today, IU is the nation's little sister, one of the most respected and beloved artists in Asia. She sells out stadiums and is acclaimed as an actress, but her debut was marked by cruelty that could have destroyed any teenager's self-esteem. Let's go back to 2008. IU was only 15 years old. She wasn't the stick-thin, plastic surgery beauty standard the industry idolized at the time. She was an ordinary girl, with baby cheeks and a powerful voice, trying to make her dream come true. She went on stage at M Countdown to sing her debut song, Mia, a sad and emotional ballad. It should have been the happiest day of her life, but the audience was full of boy group fans. Many reports point to fans of male groups who were competing that day, who decided that this unknown girl didn't deserve respect. While the 15-year-old girl poured her soul out singing, the shouting began. They weren't cheers of support. From the audience, male and female voices started insulting her during the breaks in the song. They shouted horrible things like, "Hey, you, pig, get off the stage, you're ugly." Imagine being 15, live on national television, trying to concentrate on your performance, and hearing a crowd calling you a pig and telling you to get lost. IU later said she could hear every insult clearly. She said those 3 minutes felt like they lasted an eternity. She felt like the whole world hated her. The humiliation of being attacked for her appearance at the moment she was exposing her talent was devastating. She left the stage and instead of giving up, made a promise to herself. She would become so big, so successful, that no one could ever ignore or humiliate her again. That pain became fuel. The pig they cursed at became the biggest soloist in K-pop history and an elite actress. This story is a grim reminder of how toxic fan culture can be, but it is also the greatest testament to IU's unbreakable strength. They tried to bury her, but they didn't know she was a seed. The next case is different. It wasn't a physical fall or an insult on stage, but a public humiliation linked to honor and family, something sacred in Korean culture. Park Bo-gum, our eternal Bogu-mi, known for his angel image, the boy who never did anything wrong, had his name dragged through the mud for mistakes he didn't commit. In 2016, right after he exploded in popularity with Reply 1988, a bombshell news story leaked to the press. Park Bo-gum had filed for personal bankruptcy. The public was in shock. How could the actor of the moment, the nation's perfect son-in-law, be broke? The story behind the headline was heartbreaking. When Bo-gum was only 15, still a high school student, knowing nothing about life, his father took out a loan of about 300 million won with loan sharks to try to save a business. Without his son's full knowledge, the father put Park Bo-gum as a joint guarantor for the debt. The father's business failed. The debt, with abusive interest rates from loan sharks, snowballed, reaching an unbelievable 800 million won in 2014. Park Bo-gum, who was just starting his career and doing small roles, suddenly found himself being charged for a fortune he never saw and never spent. The humiliation of having his family financial problems exposed on the front page of every newspaper was immense. In Korea, having unpaid debts is seen as a grave moral failing. He had to go to court, expose his own father's financial incompetence, and officially declare that he had no money, filing for bankruptcy to get rid of a cursed inheritance. He had to admit publicly, "I have no way to pay this." For a young rising actor, having to reveal this vulnerability and seeing his father publicly criticized was a heavy burden. Fortunately, the court took his side, annulling most of the debt. But the shame of having this scandal associated with his name, right at the peak of his fame, was a trial by fire. He handled it all in silence with dignity, and kept working hard, paying what was stipulated and clearing his name. Today, he is an example of integrity, but the scar of this public exposure of his private life will never be forgotten. Next on the list is the man considered visually perfect, Cha Eun-woo. You might think, how can someone so beautiful be humiliated? Well, know that his beauty was, for a long time, his greatest curse and a reason for mockery. Cha Eun-woo's humiliation wasn't a single event, but a continuous massacre of cruel criticism about his talent, which peaked in 2019 during the drama Rookie Historian Gu Hae-ryung. Eun-woo has always carried the nickname Face Genius, but in Korea, this can be a backhanded compliment. It means he only has a face, no talent. When he was cast as the lead in Rookie Historian, the netizens' reaction was brutal. With every episode that aired, forums were flooded with poisonous comments. They called his acting robotic, said he had the same facial expression for everything, wide eyes. And worst of all, said he was stealing the spot of talented actors just because he was pretty. Imagine working 20 hours a day on a film set, doing your best, and opening the internet to read thousands of people saying you are a fraud, a flower vase with no soul. The criticism was so heavy it became national news. It wasn't just, he acts poorly. It was a personal attack on his dignity as an artist. His pain became visible. At concerts for his group, Astro, around this time, Eun-woo was seen crying copiously on stage several times. In interviews, he apologized to fans with his head down, saying, "I feel like a burden to my team. I feel like I'm not good enough." Seeing a boy known for his bright smile apologize for existing and for trying to work was one of the saddest things fans have ever witnessed. He was humiliated for being handsome, reduced to a static image. But Cha Eun-woo didn't stop. He swallowed the criticism, studied, persisted. In True Beauty and more recently in Wonderful World, he shocked everyone with monstrous evolution, delivering intense drama scenes and proving he is much more than a pretty face. His greatest revenge was success. But the tears shed during the virtual massacre left marks that show the high price of perfection. Byung-hun. Byung-hun isn't just a famous actor, he is a legend, one of the few to achieve real success in Hollywood, and who starred in masterpieces like Mr. Sunshine. But in 2014, this giant was brought to his knees in front of all of South Korea in a scandal that mixed blackmail, betrayal, and sordid intimate details. At the time, Byung-hun was already married to famous actress Lee Min-jung. Life seemed perfect. Until the news broke, the actor was being blackmailed by two young women, one of them a member of the K-pop group Glam. They demanded the absurd amount of 5 billion won, about $5 million at the time, not to leak a private video. Now pay attention, because here is the double humiliation. First, he was the victim of a serious crime. The women recorded a conversation where Lee Byung-hun, visibly drunk, made sexual jokes and obscene comments. They threatened to release this to destroy his image as a serious married man. He went to the police, and the blackmailers were arrested and convicted. But the victory in court didn't save his reputation. On the contrary. During the trial, details of the conversation leaked. The press published transcripts of what was said in that private meeting. The Korean public was shocked. Lee Byung-hun's image was dragged through the mud. He was painted as a married man who got involved with much younger women in compromising situations. The humiliation was so great it transcended the crime. He had to come out in public, not as the extortion victim he was, but as a repentant husband. The scene of him at the airport, bowing deeply before the cameras and asking for forgiveness from his wife and fans, was painful to watch. He said, "I have caused immense disappointment and pain to my family, something I cannot heal for the rest of my life." In Korea, where family morality is everything, having your dirty conversations exposed on national networks is a nightmare. Many bet his career ended there. He lost contracts, movies were postponed, and the public called for his banishment. It was only his monstrous talent as an actor that allowed him to survive this storm. But the scar of this intimate scandal remains as a reminder that when private life becomes a spectacle, the shame is public. These stories show us that humiliation, however painful, does not define the end of the road. And you? Which of these stories surprised you the most? Tell me here in the comments. I want to know your opinion. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed getting to know this deeper side of the actors, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. See you next time. Bye.